There's a few things which experts hide from you when it comes to the Google Ads algorithm, but in this video, I'm gonna unravel it completely for you and expose the secrets they don't want you to know about. Now, before we get into the actual secrets of the Google Ads algorithm, the main question I always get asked is, what is the algorithm exactly? Because most brand owners, what they think is it's some sophisticated product that does all of these fancy things and all of these extra things, which the reality is the algorithm is a plain black and white product that operates in a bunch of zeros and ones. What you want to understand is the algorithm is simply a robot that's taking in all of the inputs from your Google Ads campaigns, from your product feed, from your business as a whole, and only looking at the number side of things. Numbers such as the quality score, numbers such as the ad rank. All of these things basically tell the algorithm how good your brand is versus how bad it is. And although these two numbers and values are not the only ones the algorithm looks at, these are the main ones which then determine where your brand ranks amongst the tens and hundreds of other competitors you might be dealing with. So on a very simplistic level, the algorithm is basically a robot that deals with zeros and ones, and your job as a brand owner, if you want to scale aggressively with Google Ads, is to get the Google Ads algorithm on your side by applying these secrets, by understanding these secrets, so that you can spend less money and be more profitable in return. Now, the first secret which you must know about when it comes to Google Ads, which is often hidden from you, is Google is actually preferring brands that give the algorithm more control. Now, for a long period of time, I was a big advocate of just keeping as much control as possible from the Google Ads algorithm. What this meant was I was often running a bunch of manual bidding based campaigns like standard shopping with maximized clicks or manual CPC. Even the same thing for search campaigns. I just wanted to have that control over the Google Ads algorithm. And what I started to notice as time went on from 2023 to 2024, then now 2025, is the brands that stuck with the manual bidding strategies, keeping more of the control, were the brands that were suffering the most. And I have this data from over 500 brands I've been able to work with across the last 7 years. So it's not a small amount of data. What I started to realize is now the algorithm truly prefers brands which, number one, have a solid foundation, but number two, can give the algorithm more control based off of this foundation that they have set up, and making sure that it's strong enough so that the algorithm can then go out and find the right type of audience for your brand. And this is where the algorithm is really shining the most now. It has become so smart after running these smart bidding based strategies for years and years that now if you just supply the right kinds of keywords, if your product images are right, if your Google Merchant Center has the right things going on for it, it can become very easy for the algorithm to pinpoint the exact customer that will convert on your website. But what this also means is if you're not giving the algorithm enough control, it's going to penalize you. It's going to punish you by not sending you as high quality traffic. And this is a big secret because most brand owners don't realize this, and they just end up learning a bunch of random standard shopping or just manual bidding based campaign approaches along with smart bidding. Now, don't get me wrong, it's still ideal to have some control with manual bidding based strategies, but if you don't strategically add these manual bidding based approaches along with smart bidding, what's going to happen is one is going to overpower the other, and more of the focus will be going towards one campaign approach versus the other. So to ensure that algorithm doesn't penalize you in any way, shape, or form, to ensure the scale remains there profitably, you want to ensure that you have both of these strategies in place and there's a healthy mix between both of them. There's not one just overlapping the other. You want some control, but at the same time, you want the algorithm doing majority of the heavy lifting. But this brings me to the second biggest secret that most brand owners don't realize, and that is you want to focus on engagement over bids. There's this big misconception going around the Google Ads community that the bids is what determines everything. The budget is what determines everything. So I see these brand owners because I speak with them regularly under my agency, Hero Marketing, which, by the way, if you run a brand doing $50,000 or more per month in revenue, you need some extra help scaling to the next level with Google Ads, go on to my website, yourmarketing.com, and schedule a completely free call with me, and let's see how we can potentially work together and make that happen. But I see these brand owners focus so heavily on bids and budgets that they forget about everything else. All they're focused on is launching more campaigns, getting more impressions, impression share, bidding higher, because that's what they believe will truly help their brand scale profitably. And although this used to work back in the day, it no longer works because Google prefers brands with higher engagement over bids. What that means is essentially the brands with higher click-through rates for their products, the brands where more customers are going on the landing pages and staying there for a longer period of time compared to the competitors. More people going onto your website and then clicking buttons to go down the funnel rather than going off of the page itself. These are all things which Google is looking at much more than just your bids and budgets. And most important of all, how is your brand helping these users, these audiences which you are targeting, stay on the Google Ads network? Are you running some ads, or is your landing page so bad that they're just exiting off of the Google platform as well? Because what you want to understand is the way Google makes money is every time a user clicks on one of these ads. So if you're driving people away from Google.com itself, if you're driving people away from shopping on Google, what's going to happen is you're going to get penalized, and as a result, your listings will start to go further and further down in terms of ranking. So what you want to always be focused on is how can you have the highest engagement, highest CTRs? How can you get more people spending more time on your website? How can you get them clicking more buttons to go down the funnel from landing page to add to cart to then initiating checkout, so on and so forth, versus just exiting out? All of these things play a very big role, even bigger than just the bids you have nowadays. And this is one of the biggest secrets. The quicker you internalize, the more your brand will scale. But this brings us to the third secret, which is the secret audience list, which can help boost your ROI to the very next level. Now, what you want to understand is Google actually hides the best audiences by default. And when I say best audiences, I'm referring to some major ones, which include time on the website in terms of the visitors, people who stay for more than 2 minutes. This is one audience list you can directly target. Or for example, past purchasers who didn't purchase in the last 90 days. This is a way to re-engage the old customers. The third audience you can use is high spending affinity audiences, like for example, luxury buyers or frequent shoppers. All of these things could be done directly within the audience manager, or when you're actually creating the campaign itself within the asset groups, for example, of a Performance Max campaign. And essentially the main goal here is to use these customer match lists to create lookalike audiences of your best customers. These three alone, if you just create these audiences, can target the best people who have ever interacted with your website and purchased from your brand. And as a result, you're going to train the algorithm to find more people just like these ones. And this is not something Google really directly shows you or gives you the ability to do. That's why you need to kind of dig deep into your campaign section, go on over to your Performance Max campaigns. For example, if we right here go on over to the PMax, go to the asset groups. From here, you can then go ahead and start creating certain audiences which you can select, or editing signals. And from here, this is where you can get to choose all of those different audience segments. So for example, we can create a brand new audience right over here. You can go into interest and detailed demographics, and you can basically target the people. Like for example, if you type in luxury shoppers, that's something we can also target here, which is exactly what we want to be doing. So these are big and heavily converting affinity audiences, or just audience lists within your own customers that you can target to kind of supercharge the Google Ads algorithm and make it so you can scale very, very aggressively. But secret number 4 is the optimization and ad score is basically meaningless. I can't tell you how many brand owners I work with who regularly kind of point to the optimization score they have, or to a bunch of random things, like for example, this optimization score, or they'll look at a notification, and then in the notifications they'll show them that they need to make certain changes. So they'll listen to the Google Ads recommendations. These are the worst things you can do, because keep in mind, these recommendations and the optimization score, these are very vague metrics decided by the robot, by the Google Ads algorithm. It's not a real human being looking at the data, understanding all of these metrics, and so on and so forth. So what this means is all of this data can end up being very, very irrelevant very quickly. You want to ensure that whatever changes you make to your Google Ads algorithm and just to your campaign strategy is based on real numbers, because otherwise you're going to be improving these metrics which don't really make any types of sense, and it's not really geared to make your brand scale in terms of revenue. It's all geared to make Google Ads more money, which they make more money by basically getting you to spend more money. So that's the little thing, that's a little secret you want to keep in mind. But that brings us to the final secret, which if you can internalize this and really implement it, can scale your brand very very aggressively to the next level. And that is Google prioritizes ads that align with organic search results. So if your landing page ranks organically for a keyword, your Google ads will actually perform better for that keyword too. And this is why you want to basically run Google ads and SEO together, hand in hand. These work together. Google ads traffic then starts boosting up your SEO rankings even more. And if you're starting to rank higher organically with these certain keywords, well, then that's going to further make it easier for your Google ads campaigns to perform. So I've seen this happen over and over again, where the brands that really focus on SEO end up actually crushing it on the Google ads side. And then the Google ads positive results, on the other hand, then further pushes their SEO rankings higher and higher. So these things are connected with each other. The more you can get them to work together, the better your brand will scale. Which again, if you run a brand doing 50,000 or more per month in revenue, you need some extra help scaling your brand to the next level. Go on to my website at yourmarketing.com and schedule a free call with me, and let's see how we can potentially work together and make that happen.